Watch this right quick. Hey, wait, Grant, did you say defensive backs?
Yeah.
Well, that reminds me. Right down the road from Catholic High School, we didn't talk about this last week. Defensive back Blaine Bradford actually did not commit to LSU as many expected, committed to Ohio State. The five-star, I've seen number one safety in America, number two safety in America, depending on what outlet you subscribe to at Catholic High in Baton Rouge, picked Ohio State over LSU. Do we make anything of this? Do we think this holds? Because personally, candidly, I don't. I think if LSU wants a Baton Rouge kid, they get him, especially at a position of need. But what do you think, Grant?
Look, it's not the most ideal thing in the world, right? Mm-mm. Of course, he is a Baton Rouge native. I've actually met him. Really nice kid. I cover a lot of high school football as well, and recruiting, of course. And so I've gotten a chance to really know him. He's been a starter at Catholic since his freshman year, which is really hard to do considering the fact that Catholic, along with Carr, have been the two best teams in St. Louis every year. They are loaded every single year. And so if you get to start as a freshman or sophomore at either Catholic or Carr, you're an awesome player, right? You're definitely going to get D1 offers. Blaine Bradford was a starter for Catholic since his freshman year. He balled out against Zachary. I'm like, who is that kid? I'm like, he looks great out there. He's decent like kid. He's like, oh yeah, he's only a freshman. I'm like, how is he a freshman? Mm-hmm. Right? And the craziest thing is too, his brother, also what makes it not as a deal is that his brother will be joining the football team next fall. He was a commit in the class of 2025, and he's also a very underrated player as well. I think he's going to be one of the biggest gems of that class if things work out. He locked down all of Carr's receivers, and all three of the receivers went D1, including Teron Francis, a 4-star receiver who is on LSU's roster as we speak. And he locked them down. He also went one-on-one with Trey Green and the Catholic Zachary game a couple years ago. That just shows you what type of player Jacob is as well. So, and that's what made it shocking that he went to Ohio State, right? Look, Ohio State is a great program. Ohio State, if there's one program where if you had to commit to a program other than LSU, Ohio State is probably the best choice because he's not in the SEC and also got a place where, he's going to get developed. Ohio State has developed DB after DB. I mean, Ohio State is one of the biggest factories, pro football factories in the country. It's not even close, right? I mean, they're definitely top 5. So it's not, and they're not defending that championship. So it's not hard for me to fathom that he would commit to Ohio State. But I don't think it's a big deal as well. I really don't think it's a big deal. As you just said, there's still plenty of time until December. And even if his commitment still holds and he signs with Ohio State, I mean, you still have Aiden Hall, who is the number 2, who's a top 5 safety as well. He's Carr, and LSU's had a lot of success bringing in guys from Carr, right, under Brian Kelly, which is hard to do. A lot of times Carr guys don't really work out, but under Brian Kelly, they have. And I just think that this is not a big deal because you got Aiden Hall, Louisiana has full of DBs. And you're always going to miss out on one, right? And now Louisiana, you're going to miss out on at least 1 or 2 kids. It's going to happen. And this is one of those things. And the good thing is he's committed to Ohio State. It's not like he committed to Alabama or Texas or another school in the SEC. Yeah, it sucks that you weren't able to land the hometown kid. But on the bright side, you still have plenty of time to the early signing day. And on top of that, it's not like you're in a state that is depleted of skill talent, which is receivers, DBs, you name it. So I don't think it's a big deal, but as long as this doesn't become a recurrent thing, right? That's when it becomes frustrating. It's not just one player; it's how does the rest of the state think of LSU at the moment, and which is also why it's very important that LSU wins against Clemson that very first week of the year.
Yeah. And ironically, or maybe fittingly is the better word, but Blaine's brother, Jacob, as you mentioned earlier, was a Houston commit at one point in time. So this isn't super surprising that a Bradford brother committed elsewhere, and then LSU just kept digging, and eventually they flipped him. So as long as Corey Raymond is still on staff, and I mean, it's easy to commit to Ohio State right now in April, but come December, when my choice is either going all the way to the other side of the country to play my college football, or going 10 minutes down the road and still being close to home and playing my college football, I think eventually this will win out and LSU will win out. And like you said, Aiden Hall is by no means a consolation prize. He is just as good as Blaine Bradford. And the funny thing too about like you said about keeping, you're never going to get everybody. It is the Baton Rouge kids that seem to always like sting the most because of just proximity. And I remember the thing that kind of undid Les Miles, or one of the many things that undid Les Miles, was being able to keep especially Alabama out of Baton Rouge, specifically with U High. LSU's had better luck with Catholic High, the other major Baton Rouge school. But for those that don't know, U High, University High, is LSU's lab school. And God, there was just this stretch which just seemed like year after year, U High had a 5-star prospect, Dylan Moses, Christian Harris, and every year, oh, cool, he's going to Alabama. This kid is literally prepping on your campus, and Alabama got him. Saban got him. So, like you'd said, if this Bradford thing does stick, which you don't, at least he's going to go outside the conference, and it's not killing you for 3 or 4 years. Maybe you run into him and play in a playoff situation, and if so, may the best man win. But for now, it's okay. And talk to me in December. Talk to me in November. He also should be noted, Bradford committed to Ohio State after taking an unofficial visit to Ohio State. So could that be just as small as a 17, 18-year-old kid living up at Ohio State for a weekend and said, you know what, this is what I want to do? Yep, probably. What happens when he takes his official to LSU and the full court press really starts to kick in? We'll see. And again, it sounds like you and I are both in this is probably going to flip for LSU. Maybe not sooner than later, but definitely it seems like a win, not if scenario.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. And look, I'm going to actually share this real quick with you guys, to kind of give you an idea where LSU stands in the state of Louisiana. Just give me 1 second. But it's not like it's saying like most of the state in terms of the top prospects in the state of Louisiana. It's not a shocker that LSU signed a lot of them, right? Just look at the list. Richard Anderson, the number one defensive line, arguably the number one defensive line in the country, committed to LSU. Lamar Brown, right now his top school is LSU. Originally, he really didn't have the best relationship with LSU, and a lot of that was because there's some several things that happened. I mean, of course, LSU was recruiting out because he's kind of like that flex guy where he could possibly be a recruiter's offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. So there was kind of some confusion there, or whatever. But LSU's now his top school after he visited them at junior day. Of course, we mentioned Blaine Bradford. He is coming to Ohio State. But then Aiden Hall, exactly, you can see that pretty good, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to make it zoom in a little closer to make sure you guys can see this. But Aiden Hall, as we said, the number 5 safety in this country. Of course, this is on 3 rankings, so a lot of things can be different. But he's the number 4 guy in the committed LSU. Jabari Mack committed to LSU. Bryson Martinez from Eastern Section committed to LSU. Kenny Darby, another receiver, committed to LSU. Ja'Kai Anderson, another receiver, committed to LSU. Like, you have 3 receivers out of the state of Louisiana that are committed to LSU. Those are the guys you want to keep. Hayward Howard, right now he's the number 9 prospect. He does not have an offer from LSU, but that's going to come very soon. And I just found out that JaMychal Garrett transferred the car. I'm not sure how that's why I was on my phone. So it's like, wait, he goes to Gulf Shores High School in Alabama. Because I actually interviewed him for one of my recruiting podcasts I did a little while back. And then he transferred, I remember he transferred to Auburn, but apparently right now he's at Carr. So I'm wondering how much LSU has to do with him landing that car. So something's going on here. I don't know. I got to dig into that. But something is going on here. But as you mentioned, yeah, Leon Noah. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think he has an offer from LSU yet, but he will be. Like, all these guys who either got an offer from LSU, like Zarian Ellis got an offer from LSU the other day. He's rising up the recruiting rankings really fast. He was unranked a couple of months ago. But all these guys were on this list right here. Most of these guys on this list have either gotten an offer from LSU or getting ready to get an offer from LSU. And as we mentioned before, we haven't mentioned this on the show before, but the two most important classes Brian Kelly has hit is the class of 2026 and the class of 2027. Class of 26, you go to the list, you start to see why, right? And then, of course, what's his name? The guy who went to St. Augustine car, I forgot his name. I know I'm tripping right now.
Stewart.
Yeah, Jakeem Stewart. There we go. Jakeem Stewart. I don't know why that blinked out on me, but he was supposed to be part of this class of 2026, but he's not anymore because he reclassified 2025 and committed to USC. We all know. And good luck to him because I know just from my time covering high school football down here in New Orleans. But next year, to class 27, let me actually pull this up for you guys right here. Is also important, if not even more important. Because in the class of 2027, Zyron Forstall, he's a dog. Jack, I'm telling you right now, he's a dog. He got a lot of big time offers this year, and he will probably be the number one prospect in the country. He is a dog as a defensive end at Jesuit. Right now, he's leaning towards LSU. Albert Simeon, the number 11 prospect in the country. Easton Royal, another big-time player. He's awesome. Easton Royal is an awesome, awesome player. Right now in the top 20 to 25, Ahmad Houston, 46. And Elijah Haven right now, I don't know why I'm not sure if they updated these pretty recently. I know it's on 3, so take this with a grain of salt because they still have to edit some of the things because some of these are carried over from the class of 2027. But this guy's the number one player in the country according to 24/7, and the number 2 player in the country according to Rivals. And both those sites have him as the number 1 quarterback in the country. So and you have 3 quarterbacks out of the state of Louisiana, kind of similar to 2023. So this class is extremely important for LSU as well. I know I'm showing the on 3. Let me show you the 24/7 one as well for the state of Louisiana. As pull this up. I want Louisiana. Oh, hold on. Oh boy. Give me 1 second, guys.
While Grant does that, basically it sounds like the point that we're making here as usually when it comes to a kid in Louisiana, if LSU wants them, LSU's probably going to get them. That was on the 26 class on 3 rankings, 8 of the top 9 are either committed to LSU or training to commit to LSU. And the one exception is Blaine Bradford, and Grant and I both expect that to flip. So that's 9 of the top 9. With 27, I mean, again, it's a whiles away, but who LSU wants, they're probably going to get. That's just kind of how this state works. That's the advantage that Louisiana has, or LSU has in Louisiana. It's a Power 5 school with no other Power 5 competition to compete with. And it's a talent-rich state. It's maybe the most talent-rich state in the country. And again, if LSU wants you, LSU's probably going to get you, especially nowadays with NIL and the revenue sharing on the way. It doesn't look like LSU's going to get Bryce Underwood again, not unless they can help that, which also kind of gives me more reason to believe that this Bradford thing will flip the other way because LSU had Underwood as dead set committed as you could have possibly hoped for, and then Michigan dropped the bag. And it just seems like, with Underwood going to school 30 minutes away from home, it's going to flip back, and the same logic is going to apply for Blaine Bradford. And it's even closer than 30 minutes away from school.
It's not even 30 minutes. We're talking about 5 to 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It's really not that far away from LSU's campus. But there's nothing really on 24/7 because, like I said, a lot of people are still updating their rankings. But I just show you the list of on 3. That's the amount of talent that's in the state right now, right? Yeah. And their rankings are only going to rise. Like, for example, Elijah Haven will still raise the number 5 player in the state of Louisiana. He will be the number 1 player in the state of Louisiana just because 24/7 and Rivals, both of them has the number 1 player in the country, right?
Yeah.
So, R3 is going to update it, and he's going to be number 1, and then everybody else is going to have their rankings changed and everything. Like I always showed you some examples of guys in class of 2026 where they weren't even ranked before the spring. Weren't even ranked. Zyron Forstall was okay. I know he's only like a sophomore going into his junior year, but he got a bunch of offers in like a month span, along with his offer from LSU. So, like I said, like a lot of these things can happen extremely fast. You could go from unranked to a 4-star. Probably the best example on LSU's team is Dominique McKinley. Dominique McKinley was a 3-star recruit after his junior year. All of a sudden, he had a huge growth spurt. He got bigger. He went to these camps, and bang, he's the number 1 player in the state of Louisiana. Right. So the great thing about LSU is that all of his coaching staff either has ties to Louisiana, is from Louisiana, has coached at LSU previously, or you name it. Anything that has involved in the state of Louisiana, there's ties. And that's what these coaches at LSU have. And they know who the coaches are, and they know who's going to be good before anyone else knows they're going to be good. So you're always going to be at an advantage compared to other teams trying to come to St. Louisiana and pluck the talent away because you already know these kids. So, and I think that's the good thing about Brian Kelly having the staff he has right now. It's very important to lock up the boot. You have to. Nick Saban did it. Les Miles did a pretty good job of it. Coach O, for the most part, did a great job of it. But Brian Kelly wants to make sure it's on lockdown. That it's sealed tight. It's locked up in a lockbox. It's tied up. Whatever you want to describe it, he's going to make sure it's locked down. I know Blaine Bradford left Ohio State. You can't keep everyone from leaving the state of Louisiana. It happens. You're going to eventually have somebody who wants to leave the state of Louisiana because they want to explore different parts of the country. They lived here their entire life and want to explore something different. It happens, right? But the good thing is Brian Kelly has staff in place to make sure that this doesn't become an epidemic, right? You don't want it to have too many guys leave the state. So I think yes, Blaine Bradford coming to Ohio State is not ideal, of course, because of where he's from. And of course, his brother is going to be on the roster next fall, upcoming fall. But it's also not the end of the world because still a lot of time before his pen is signed to paper. LSU fans, we all know this is LSU fans because we literally just saw it happen with Bryce Underwood. And he is literally maybe 30 minutes to an hour away from Ann Arbor. So